Now we start today's class. We are in chapter 13, Kshetra Kshetraknya Vibhaga Yogo Nama, 13th Yoga chapter. We have completed up to 18 slokas. On the 19th sloka is a consolidated sloka. I will read. Iti kshetram tada jnanam jneyam choktam samasataha matbhakta evat vijnaya matbhava upapadyate. Matbhavaya upapadyate. Arjuna raised 6 topics. Kshetram, Jneyam. So these 4 topics have been completely, a short summary has been given by Lord Krishna in these 18 slokas. Kshetram, Jnanam, Jneyam, sorry. Iti Kshetram tada Jnanam, Jneyam choktam samasataha. She has not distinctly explained Kshetraknya, but Kshetraknya and Jneyam are more or less synonymous. Now, we will ask a question. What is the use of learning all these things? Kshetram, Kshetraknya, Jnanam, Jneyam, all these things. Because unless and until I get some benefit, I will not study or I will not use that knowledge. I should have some benefit. So in the second line, he says, Mat bhaktaha etat vijnaya. Mat bhaktaha etat vijnaya. So if you want to know this, whatever has been taught by Krishna in this chapter, you have to be a devotee of Krishna. Mat bhaktaha. If you are not a devotee, then you will ask all that, all bhaktaha. And he says, my devotee. When will I become a devotee of Bhagavan? Bhagavan should like you. If I like somebody, I will have full trust in him. Then I will listen to whatever he teaches me. So similarly, Krishna says, when he says mat bhaktaha, this devotee has been qualified to be a devotee of Krishna, bhakta. That means he has full faith in Bhagavan. Full faith in Bhagavan. So that is one qualification. Mat bhaktaha etat vijnaya mat bhava bhavaya upapadyate. Mat bhavaya upapadyate means I and he, we are one and the same. Aham Brahmasmi. So see the jnanam is jnanam. The jnayam will give you not similarity. You become Bhagavan. First you said mat bhaktaha. When I say mat bhaktaha, I am the most liked devotee to Bhagavan. If Bhagavan has to know you, that means you should also reciprocate with similar bhakti to him, devotion. Not, a passing devotion. Now we will ask a question. This is very subtle to understand. Very sukshma, very subtle. I cannot understand. So for that he says, Krishna says here, when I say Mat Bhaktaha, my devotee, if he constantly meditates on me, thinking about me all the time, 24 by 7, throughout the year, throughout his life, then I will give him the mind, refined mind. I will go on refining the mind. So when he refines our mind, we become more and more, our mind becomes subtle. And once it is subtle, then we will be able to understand the subtle truth. So it is not one-sided view. It's a both has to work. Krishna says, I will give him that refinement of the mind. But at the same time, you also have to extend your devotion to me, only to me, not to others. Your devotion should not be divided. Right now, our devotion are totally divided by myself, my family members, and if I have a seeking the God, God also gets a 5% of devotion. So this is not full devotion, 100% devotion. He is not a Mat Bhakta. In the chapter 12, he has given 5 levels of bhakti. 5 levels means the first level is you are a bhakta. That means you have faith in God, that's all. But you are not Krishna's bhakta, Mat Bhakta, my devotee. You offer your devotion to Bhagavan, but Bhagavan has to accept that. But if so, the level 1 bhakti is only that you have devotion, but you are using it for our day-to-day fulfillment of our arthas, our whatever is required. Like my son has to pass, he has to get admission in a US university, and such type of petitions we give to God. I mean, you are not wholly devoted to Bhagavan. So the difference between Mat Bhakta is that you have to raise yourself from that level 1 to level 2, that is Karma Yoga. That means from selfishness to selflessness. That means once the mind gets refined, then you are going up in the ladder from Rajoguna to Sattva-guna. Sattva-guna is Jnanam. So that is what he says. Mat Bhaktaha. Mat Bhaktas Etad Vijnaya. We all go to temple daily. We pray to Bhagavan. Sometimes we participate in, say, for example, in Nana Nani we say, if there is a Pratosha Puja, or it's a Navaratri, or it's a Ganapati, the management is offering so many sevas, and they indicate a certain prices for that. So you contribute and you participate in those sevas. That's fine. That's a bhakti. But that is not, you will not become a devotee of Bhagavan. If you have to become a devotee of Bhagavan, you should have 100% faith. That's what he says in chapter 9. Patram pushpam balam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktivadam asnami prayatatmana. You don't have to give me all fancy things, costly things. Give me only a patram, pushpam, a leaf, a tulsi leaf. So he has come to that low level. I mean, for a devotion, you don't need any form but this show. Again, next line he says, Yat karoshi yadasnasi yat juhoshi dadasiyate yat tapassati kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. So he says that daily whatever we do, right from getting up, offer everything to Bhagavan. That is Mat Bhakta. So this word Mat Bhakta should be clearly understood. That means we have to raise ourselves from today's devotion to Mat Bhakta. You have to become a devotee of Bhagavan. Bhagavan should consider you as a my Bhakta. And then he also says, I think I don't know, it is on the 8th shloka, chapter 7. Jnani tu atmaiva me matam. Jnani tu atmaiva me matam. He is not different from me. That means he is Paramatma. I am also Paramatma. If both of us are Paramatma, then you have no samsara. You are already a liberated person. Then you are free from this samsara. So these are the benefits you will get if you follow Kshetram, Kshetraknaha, Jnanam, Jnayam. So that means if I look at the benefits, then I will deeply involved in studying further. That means my mind will become subtler and subtler and subtler. One Shishya was talking to his Guru. He has been hearing the Shravanam from him for so many years. And then he was telling the teacher, now you are teaching better. I am able to understand your teaching. What does that mean? The teacher is talking the same Upadesha to everybody, but the Shishya has become more and more Shraddha. Shraddhavan Labhate Jnanam. His mind has become refined. So once the mind has refined, the listening skill also gets improved. Same teaching, but only thing is now, once it becomes subtler and subtler, our understanding. But it is not on the teacher, it is you. That is the improvement you have. So even if you want to see whether you are improving in your listening, if you are able to understand me, what I am talking, much more clearer and clearer day after day, class after class, that means you are improving. That means your mind becomes subtler. That means you have a Shraddha, a trust in the teacher. And Shraddhavan Labhate Jnanam. So this is the benefit if you have these 4 items in your mind. Now we go to sloka number 20.
Mama, 19, Mama.
Yeah. Now, sloka number 20. Prakritim purusham chaiva vidyanati ubhavapi vikaramscha gunamschaiva vidya prakriti sambhavan. Prakritim purusham cha eva vidya anadi ubau api vikaramscha gunamschaiva vidya prakriti sambhavan. The next pair of clarification Arjuna wanted was Prakritim and Purusha. Prakriti is nothing but Kshetra. Purusha is nothing but Kshetraknaha or Jnayam. You see, if you read different Upanishads, there are so many Upanishads, Taittiriya Upanishad, Kena Upanishad, Kaivalya Upanishad. Chandogya Upanishad. Every Upanishad is talking about Atma only. But in all the Upanishads, but they are discussed from a different angle. So that, if you are not clear with the Atma of Chandogya Upanishad, maybe you may be understanding with the other Upanishads. So that is the meaning of that word. Now, he is talking about Prakriti and Purusha. We have already seen Kshetra. Everything is Kshetra. Kshetra means what? Whatever is non-moving item, Achetana item, they are all included in Kshetra. Kshetra means the world, our bodies, Sthula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram, Karana Shariram, and then these objects in the world, our emotions in the mind, our thoughts in the intellect, everything comes under Kshetra. Same thing happens in Prakriti. And Prakriti is also called Maya. Maya. And Purusha is Brahman, Atman. Purusha and Prakriti, both of them, he says here, Anadi. Anadi means beginningless or birthless. Purusha is birthless, Prakriti is also birthless. So Maya is birthless. Maya, how can Prakriti be birthless? Because it is not there, it is not existing. So whatever is not existing, it has no beginning. Nasato vidyate bhavo, nabhavo vidyate sataha, uvayor abhishtontaha, anayo tattva darshibihi. The one who sees both existence and non-existence, he is a jnani. That he has talked about in chapter number 2. So Prakriti and Purusha are the two tattvams in the whole, what you call as cosmos, universe. The combination of Purusha and Prakriti is the cause of the universe. How does the universe has come? Because of the combination. There is a sloka in this thing, Parameshwara, Jagata Pitarau Vande, Parvati Parameshwara. Jagata Pitarau Usha, thank you. So Jagata Pitarau Vande, Parvati Parameshwara. So the Jagat has come from the combination of Parvati and Parameshwara. That is a Purusha Tattva. Masculine and female together is the cause of the child. The father alone cannot produce a child, mother alone cannot produce a child, unless they together they will be able to produce a children. So now what is the two common qualities? One quality is they are anadi, birthless. And second is together they can create this jagat. That is the tattvam we call it. Brahman and Maya together is called Ishvara. Brahman plus Maya is called Ishvara. Maya is nothing but Prakriti. Prakriti is also called three gunas. Sattva, Rajas, Tamo, Guna. All the three gunas are also Prakriti. Also the 5 gunas in our 5 elements. Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Jalam, and Prithvi. Each one has got one guna. Akasha has got sound. Vayu has touch. Agni has rupam, shape. Jalam has got taste. Buddhi has got smell. Prithvi has got smell. These are the gunas. But Brahman is absolutely free of all these gunas or attributes. That is why it is called Nirgunam. What is Nirgunam? Without gunas, without attributes. And Prakriti is with all the gunas. So this is the difference between Prakriti and Purusha. Second difference is Purusha is a conscious principle, sentient principle, knowledgeable principle. Whereas Prakriti is Achetanam. It has no consciousness. It is all inner. And the third difference is Purusha is Nirvikaram. Nirvikaram means there is no change happening, no manifestation, no modification. So that is what called Nirvikaram. Whereas in the case of Prakriti, it is ever changing. See, if you take our body, which is one of the items of Prakriti, that body goes on changing. We have got such vikaras. You are a baby, then you grow. Vardate, jayate, parinamate, vibhakshiyate, nashyate. So there are 6 vikaras. So that is come under Prakriti. Mind is also changing, ever changing, violently changing. So that is also Prakriti. Buddhi is also Prakriti. So how an inert Prakriti and a sentient Purusha create this samsara? Samsara means universe. Samsara means samyak sarati. That means it is giving you all the time sukham and dukkham. Samsaram, Tamil வந்து சம்சாரம்னா சான்ஸ்கிரிட்ல வந்து சுகம் and dukkam. So if you want to be free of this sukham and dukkam, you should get out of this cycle of birth and death. Punarabi Jaranam, Punarabi Maranam. That cycle is the one which is keeping us in the earth, in our Prakriti. So the first line he is talking about in the sloka 20, Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidya Anadi Ubhav Api. Now he is describing again what I have talked about. Vikaramscha, that is, it is changeable. Gunam Chaiva, it has all the gunas. With the Prakriti Sambhavan. So these are all has come from Prakriti. Sambhavan means it has come out from Prakriti. So we have defined Prakriti now. Then we would like to know what is Purusha. Next sloka. Karya Karana Kartritve Hetuhu Prakriti Uchyate. Again he is describing Prakriti one in the first line. Karya Karana Kartritve Hetuhu Prakriti Uchyate Purushaha Sugadukhanam Bhoktatve Hetu Uchyate. Karya Karana Kartritve Hetuhu Prakriti Uchyate Purushaha Sugadukhanam Bhoktatve Hetu Uchyate. He is defining Prakriti again. What happens? He says Karyam Karanam Kartritve. Karyam is Sukshma, Sthula Shariram, our gross body. Karana means subtle body, Sukshma Shariram. Kartritva, in the creation of these two, Sthula and Sukshma Shariram, the cause is Hetuhu, is Prakriti. So Prakriti Sambhavat, this happens. So now we have very clear picture of Prakriti. We are all Prakritis now. Dead body is a Prakriti. Prakriti means will not do any activity. Prakriti Karya Karana Kartritve Hetuhu Prakriti Ruchyate. Sorry, all the actions are done by Prakriti. But Prakriti by itself cannot do any action. It is inert. If I take 2 pots inside the house, I bought 2 pots, I take it to my house, and then I go out and come back. Do you find the 2 pots fighting each other and one pot broke? It never happens because both are inert. Or you take 2 chappals. So if you take 2 chappals, the chappals will not fight. So that is Prakriti. But if you leave 2 children and leave some food item, by the time you come back, both of them would have been fighting. They are waiting to complain about one about the other. Because they are Chaitana, sentient body. So that means there is no action taking place in Achetana. If there is no sentiency, 2 inert bodies cannot experience any transaction. Vyavaharathikku layakilla. So that is Prakriti. Now in the next line he is talking about Purusha. Purushaha Sukha-dukkhanam Bhoktritve Heturuchyate. Purushaha Sukha-dukkhanam Bhoktritve Hetuhu Uchyate. Here the Bhoktritve means experiencer. So Purusha is the experiencer of Sukha and Dukkha. Heturuchyate. How can an inert matter and a Purusha, which we have defined, is Achetanam, Nirvikaram, Nirgunam, and sentient? He has no Kartritva. Whereas in the case of Prakriti, which is inert. So there are 2 items now. One is called Prakriti, the other is called Purusha. Now we should understand, if you look at our present life in this world, universe, we cannot call ourselves as Purusha because we are a samsari. We are all the time Sukhi and Dukhi till our death. Then how does it happen? Then how do you become a samsara? How does the Purusha status comes to Purusha in our present situation? I cannot locate God, Brahman, because in the beginning of the universe, in the Jagat, only one item which was available was Brahman. Brahman is the only substance in the universe, in the causal world. Only Brahman was there. So before Brahman, nothing was there. So no space was there. Prakriti was also there, but Prakriti also Anadi. we have to understand very deeply this significant note. Purushaha, Brahman was the only thing available, and from the Brahman, the universe was created. So Brahman is the cause for the creation of this universe. And for that he took the help of Prakriti. That is called Maya. So Brahman plus Maya is Ishvara. Similarly here, in our case, we have an Atma. Atma does not do Nirvikaram, Chetanam, and our Ajnanam is equivalent to Maya. So that is the reason for the creation of the samsara. To explain it much more clearly, Purusha is not doing anything. That's what we always say, Purusha Tattvam, Prakriti Tattvam. Purusha Tattvam, from the start of this creation, Purusha was not doing anything. And Swamiji used to say, all the husbands, Purusha has another meaning called husband, male and husband. Husband, Parambara Prapti, he is not doing anything. He reads newspaper and drink coffee, nothing else. And the wife has to do all the other work. It was there from Parambara. It was there at the time of creation itself. Now, so Prakriti cannot be creator of this body. Prakriti cannot be participating in the samsara, in our samsara. Sukha Dukkha Avakaralamalla. Then if you take about Purusha, Purusha by itself is free from all these attributes or all these changes. So he is also not responsible. Then how do we conclude that, how do we get the status of our present mind, human mind, activities, Purusha status? Because if you talk about Prakriti, Prakriti has got three items. One is the world, Jagat. Second is the gross body, Sthula Shariram. And the third is called Sukshma Shariram, which is a subtle body. All the three are there in the Prakriti. And in front of Ishvara, Brahman, Brahma Sannidhyam, they have to be near the Brahman only. What happens? Brahman has got sentience, consciousness. So that consciousness reflects in the mind, because mind is subtle body. It is not reflecting in all the objects like chappals and pots and all that I told you, and it also does not reflect on the body, gross body, but the mind has the power to reflect. So once the mind gets the reflection, you become a sentient person. Pseudo-sentient. It's not intrinsic with you. It is incidental. Intrinsic is only with consciousness in Brahman. But in your mind, it is an incidental consciousness. And that incidental consciousness we call as Aham. Aham, I. Aham, capital I. Or small I, you can both. So now the I is really not there. Aham is not really there. But then what happens? You say, I am enjoying, I am eating, I am sleeping, I am worrying, I have grief. So this Aham is superimposed, original aham is superimposed on the mind. So samsara comes only because of our mind. So it is Bhagavan is not giving you samsara. Please note, because we always blame some Bhagavan. Bhagavan வந்து எனக்கு இந்த கஷ்டத்தை ஏன் கொடுக்கிறார் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி நம்ம we used to cry about it. If something goes wrong, we also put the blame on Bhagavan. But here now you see, Bhagavan is absolutely free from any sanghas, attachments. Whereas we are attached to all the items. So our mind gets attached to all these things. And the mind is responsible for this sukha dukkha experience. That's what he says here in this sloka. Purushaha sukha dukkhanam bhoktritva heturuchyate. So this Purushan is not responsible for sukha dukkhanam, but the pseudo Purushaha, the I, aham. He is the. But if Purusha is not nearby, then the mind will not get activated. But if nearer the Purusha, this mind gets activated and take the role of I, aham, and this aham is a samsari. So who is the samsari? Aham. To make it a little more clearer, suppose there is an office, you are working in an office, a lot of people are there, and when the managing director comes to the office, you will see all the people under him, the managers, general managers, deputy managers, the workers, the supervisors, the clerical staff, everyone will be tip-top. They will be at their place and they will be doing their work. Why? Because the MD was there. But MD is not doing anything. MD is just sitting in his room. He may be even sleeping. But his presence is enough to activate all these people to do your actions. So the MD does not do anything directly. Similarly here, the consciousness, mere presence of consciousness is responsible for all the activities, sukha, dukkha. Another example will be in the school class teacher. When before the teacher comes, there will be a lot of noise among the children. When the teacher comes, there is a silence. And when the teacher leaves, again the commotion takes place. So this is called sarnitya matram. So when you go to an acharya or a temple, see, we all have a consciousness in our own body. Every body has got a consciousness. If that consciousness is not there, we cannot do any activity because we are a dead person. We are inert body. And that consciousness, are we caring for it? We take it for granted. That is there. It is job to be inside our body. But we never think about it, origin, do any puja. We go to a temple and do puja outside. No problem. That's fun, fine. But what is the puja you have to do was for the consciousness which is in you, in your hridaya, mind. We don't do anything. We only look after the body by eating, by dressing, by beautifying. All that we do for the body. Mind also we do sometimes. And if the body gets sick, you go to the doctor, get rectified. But do we do anything? The God which is inside you, we are absolutely not caring at all. And that is where Krishna said, Mat Bhaktaha. That means you have to have every day some devotion to Bhagavan. Give some time, and slowly over a period of time, you will go on increasing the time, and then you will become one with Bhagavan. So that is what he says, Mat Bhaktaha. By going to the temple, offering puja, prasad and all that, that's fine. Nobody says no. These are all steps. In a ladder, there are so many steps. Even in bhakti, devotion, there are 5 steps. Step 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. Level 5 is you and Bhagavan are one and the same. At level 1, you and Bhagavan, they are two. Dvaitam. And from Dvaitam, you become Advaitam. So that means our main reason for the Sukha and Dukkha, what we are experiencing day by day, is mainly because of your Ahankaram. So Ahankaram is responsible for the Sukha Dukkha. As long as you understand this very clearly, then you will not blame anybody, any of your neighbor, or any of your situations, any of your surroundings for your suffering. You are yourself responsible for the suffering because of that attachment. So this is what he says in this sloka. He says, Purushaha Sukha Bhoktritva Heturuchyate. Bhoktritva means not enjoying. It is that he is the experiencer. Now we go to the next one. Again, he is giving some more information. Purushaha Praktistohi Bhunkte Prakriti Jan Gunan Karanam Gunasankosya Sadasat Yori Janmasu. Purushaha Prakritistohi Bhunkte Prakritijan Gunan Karanam Gunasankosya Sadasat Yoni Janmasu. In the previous sloka he said, I am responsible for the samsara. That I is mind. Mind taking the sentient role, and this I is called Ahankara, and Ahankara is responsible for Sukha Dukkha. And here he says, Purushaha Prakritistaha. Sitting in Prakriti. When you say Grihastha, you are living in a house. Grihastha. Purushaha Prakritistaha Pravistohi Bhunkte Prakritijan Gunan. So what is the Prakritijan Gunan? Gunan means attributes. And Prakriti is full of, the gunas have come from Prakriti. Because from the Prakriti, the 5 elements came, and 5 elements has Gunan, 5 gunas, and it has also got Triguna, Sattva, Rajas, Tamo Guna. So all these gunas are created from Prakriti, and those Prakriti Gunan Bhunkte, who is eating that I, not the original I, Brahman. It is the Ahankara, which is in the mind. The Ahankara of the mind is responsible, Bhunkte, what? Prakriti Jan Gunan. All the gunas of the Prakriti, and what the term, for example, in the case of the Trigunatmaka Maya, Sattva, Rajas, Tamo Guna, 3 are there, no? Sattva gives you jnanam. Rajoguna gives you activities. And Tamoguna gives you moham, delusion, laziness. These are all come out of Prakriti. So Prakritijan Gunan. And who is enjoying this Prakritijan Gunan? Purushaha Prakritisto hi bhunkte Prakritijan Gunan. Then Karanam Gunasangosya Sadasat Yoni Janmasu. Karanam Gunasangosya. They are responsible. The attachment is Gunasangaha means attachment to the gunas. Sukha dukkha. When you are in deep sleep, do you feel sukha and dukkha? When you are in deep sleep, there is no body, there is no mind, there is no intellect, and no sense organs, and no karmendriyas is active. Then you say you had a good sleep. When you get up from a deep sleep, yes, I slept well. Why? At that time you are in ajnana. You are not aware of your body at all. But the moment you get up from sleep, the mind gets activated. What is the meaning of mind to get activated? It started with Sangha, attachment. And once the Sangha comes, Sukha and Dukkha follows. And the Samsara follows. So the reason for the Sukha Dukkha is the attachment. It is not Ajnanam. We always say Ajnanam is responsible. Yes. In the case of deep sleep, you are in Ajnanam, but nothing happens. You say you are a good sleep. The moment you get up, that's what he says in the sloka. Karanam Gudasankosya Sadasas Yoni Janmasu. Janmasu means birth after birth, sorrow. Gunas Sat Yoni, Asat Yoni, in good surroundings and bad surroundings. If you got more punyam, you get a good birth. If you get a more pabam, then you get a lower birth in the form of animals or whatever it is. So that means we get Purnatvam only if you get Jnanam. Shraddhavan labhate Jnanam. But if you are not getting Purnatvam, then you think you are getting Purnatvam by the mind which has borrowed sentiency from, it's not borrowed, Sanidhya Madhyam, Sanidhya Matram. So if you are near the, see for example in the case of sunlight illumines all the items which are brought to his attention in his presence. But he is not doing any action. That is his nature. That is his quality. So similarly, Brahman, Sanitya Madhyam means Brahman is not doing any activity. Like that managing director. His presence is enough to activate people indirectly. And he is not giving instructions to them. Please do any work. So he is absolutely non-committal, non-interfering. But his presence is enough to discipline us. So that is what he says. So in the presence of Bhagavan, that's why when we go to a temple, instead of, nowadays the temple is used for gossiping. And also, after seeing that alankaram of the Bhagavan, with so many gold ornaments and all that, flowers and all that, so we appreciate those things, but not the Bhagavan. That's what he says, mat bhakta. You are not mat bhakta. You have come to appreciate the external beauty of me, which is not me. I am not that. So this Purushaha Prakriti Jnanam is very useful for us to shift our focus from that Ajnanam I to real I consciousness. So that is the purpose of all this discussion on this part. So we should shift our eye from Ajnanam, Mamata to Ahankara to Bhagavan. So once it goes to Bhagavan, then this Ahankara is not there. Ahankara is totally destroyed. It disappears in no time when the Jnanam comes. So these two Prakriti Purusha is also a little bit tough to understand, like Jnayam. Kshetram Kshetrajnan was not that tough, but these four, the last four, is difficult. But he is making it a little more clearer in the next slokas, which we will take up in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Thank you all very much.